Hello, my dears. How are you today? I'm very nervous to record this video. I've been talking about it for a while, and I thought that I really needed to get dates and numbers and history and facts and all of that stuff when it came to this conversation. But it's something I keep waking up thinking about it, and I'm fascinated by it, and I've experienced it in human form, so I find that to be even more poignant. And I'm going to speak from my statements for certain capacities, but I find it really fascinating. And we're talking about gender and gender obsession, and I know I've mentioned it kind of off the cuff in certain videos that historically gender obsession or transgenderism or androgyny, kind of the divine masculine becoming more feminine and feminine becoming more masculine, historically has come before the fall of an empire. And there's a very poignant video that I'll put below that, someone who is, I think a feminist, a lesbian, a very well-versed person, and I found her talk to be incredibly fascinating, because I don't think that I'm going to talk more about the empire side of things, but I'm just so fascinated by this subject and by the fact that it's so powerful on the world stage right now, and it seems to have come up in such a fast way to the point that it's terrifying for a lot of people to talk about. You don't want to offend anybody. You don't want to upset them. If you misgender someone, it's incredible. It's powerful. It is so powerful, and it seemed to come up right quick. So if this is the first time that we have met, hello, my name is Sarah. I'm a quantum healer. I help train people and offer information about a little bit of the spiritual jargon or the woo-woo. I kind of meet you usually when you've been repeating a lot of the same cycles. You don't really understand why, and I help you unpack that. I offer a safe space in the middle of your life to really make sense of what is most authentic for you and help you get back on track. In no way am I a guru. I don't believe in living gurus on this planet. I think it's a Ram Dass quote, we're just all guiding each other back home. But I really wanted to start a safe space of a conversation. One of my original why statements when I ever did, Simon Sinek's Find Your Why, is my purpose is to create an inspired and safe space for us all to find connection. So kindness is definitely a lens, and honesty is a lens that I put over everything that I do. So I'm offering this to you in a non-judgmental way. As I record this, it is February 2024, and around the spring, summer of 2020, I was very confused. I was trying on they, them pronouns. The fall, winter of 2020, I had experienced but I was going through some really intense, odd sexualizations, some odd sexual patterns. Sorry, I'm getting a tickle in my throat. I'm talking about something that it's been a really long time for me to record this, so I'm a little nervous. And, after that, and if you're interested for the long range of the story, I have an entire playlist on my Waking Up Post-Woke series, and I go a deep dive into all this, but I'm trying my best to shorthand it. So experienced some odd things. I'd been in polyamorous relationships. I was in a polyquad for about a year where I had a male fiance, girlfriend, and a boyfriend, and we were all exclusive together for about a year. I was, like I said, at the end of 2020, going into 2021, I was trying on they, them, fairy pronouns. I, had identified as queer, as pansexual, as polyamorous, and now as I'm in my divine feminine, I identify as me, very, 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 very straight, and, attracted to men. I love that, I'm leaving these out because I had for a long time shaved the sides of my head, and I've been growing my hair out for a while now. As you can see, it's getting a little bit longer. And so I like the wildness of this expression right now. And so gender obsession, from transgender to androgyny, the need to feel special. So I won't even talk about the fall of an empire because that'll be a little astrologically based, but from a personal standpoint, I was presenting as most queer, when I was in the most pain. I was presenting as more male when I really desperately needed healthy parental attention. I was desperately seeking love of my father, desperately seeking understanding of my mother, and I found that my inner child was in screaming, roaring pain. My inner adolescent was pissed, and my human was very confused. What do you mean? I had someone ask once, like, what do you mean by my human? So I'm aware that I am consciousness running this human avatar named Sarah. I am not this human avatar. None of us are this human body. I can see the space and space where I come from. I'm choosing for this to be my last human life. So I know that I'm getting closer to that and closer to that. And so a lot of my drive is to put a significant amount of, my thoughts, my story out there, so that once I've passed away from this planet, you have access to this information. So I'm grateful for YouTube for taking care of that for me. Thank you. So the need to feel special. And it was like the need, I underlined a bunch, to feel special. And so for myself, when I was, in my they-theming, and when I was in that space of, wearing, my shirts buttoned up all the way, like really like being fine. And this is my statement. I just have to time out for a minute and just say that I feel as though this movement is taking away from actual transgender people. And I feel like this movement, and it has a lot to do with the children, and I talk about that in my Waking Up Post Woke, that actual gay people, actual lesbians, actual transgender people are real, freaking beautiful, wonderful, amazing people. I'm not talking about them. Their world has been saturated with like an obsession with children. I'll just leave it at that. An obsession with, I need to feel special. I identify as a fairy. I identify as this. I identify as that. You're in a human body, but you're not this human body. For example, there are days in this time period that I identify as more of my alien, etheric self. I cannot go to a plastic surgeon and say, surgeon, can you please make me an alien? That's not going to change who I am inside. That's not going to change how I feel. That's not going to change. It took radical self-acceptance and radical self-love for me to come back and just say, this is the body that I was given. It's a female body, and I'm grateful for this car. I'm grateful for this meat suit. I'm grateful for this avatar. So I just need to say that this is in no way talking about actual gay, actual lesbian, actual transgender men and women. They are amazing. They are incredible. They like great people on this planet. And I've gotten to know a lot of them. It's just, I found for myself that the more I went to the depths of my trauma and went to the root, it didn't matter what anybody called me. It didn't matter what pronouns people called me. I was in pain and I needed to deal with that. Yeah, so that's where I'm coming from. I just needed to say that ahead of time, 8 minutes in ahead of time. So the need to feel special. When you are in roaring pain, and there are many lenses that I find to be really fascinating about this one, where there's, an attack on the family unit. Yes. And when I, like swing over to more my conservative side and I'm like, you got to deal with your mother and father. If there's narcissism in there, if there's abuse in there, if there's trouble in there, you can't. You can't. And there's nothing that you can do to yourself to change the parental love that you desire. It's roaring pain. There's nothing you can do about that. It is what it is. I've heard a lot of detransitioners that speak to, I knew I was gay and my father didn't believe me and didn't love me. So I felt I had to become a woman because then maybe he would love me. And this is not just my language. This is a tickle in my throat. This is interesting. This is big stuff. I feel really... I get nervous to record some of these and to talk about these because I want to start a dialogue and really just open up the conversation. I don't have an answer for this one. There is no answer. It's so many lenses, so many things happening all at the same time, but I'm worthy of my opinions. I'm worthy of my story. And I thought that maybe if this could help one person, just give you a little bit of like wait, what is going on? Wait, what is going on? Because I'm just, it got to a point so quickly that I'm seeing, you know, like straight men and straight women putting pronouns in their bio. Like, why? 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 I don't understand that. That doesn't make sense to me. Yet I had been there not even 4 years ago. So just saying that it doesn't matter how you believe or how you used to believe even yesterday. You're allowed to pivot. You're allowed to change your mind, change your thoughts. And when you start to wake up and you see the manipulation from above, oh yeah, your adolescent's gonna be pissed and you're gonna be pissed. So why not look at it? Why not look at the why? Why not look at your personal why as to why, you know, maybe you feel more androgynous, maybe you feel more gender neutral, something like that. And there was a while that I was in that space. I was also surrounded by people that were equally as confused and weren't dealing with their stuff either. So when we came together, we were just having a trauma bond, and it was like delicious. We would validate all of our ridiculousnesses, and we would validate, oh, you don't have to look at what's underneath that. No, just be pissed and just lash out irrationally. You don't have to look at your own version of what you've done. You just have to look at what's been done to you. And that's tough, and that's really tough. It's tough to, like, I tried and I know I'm all over the place, but it doesn't matter. In 2023, I really was going to the root of my father issues, and I attempted to do a lot of this work with my birth father, but it got to be, because I really, like, I swung very conservative, and I was like, there's an attack on the family unit, and it's all, which there is. It's rooted in financial fear. Like, that's how it happens to you, truly. When, like, the parents are in financial fear, a lot of parents I know that want to homeschool, but they can't afford to. And so they're putting their students in school, and their teachers have whatever ideology that they want, and they're putting up whatever flag that they want, and the students have to pray to that flag, and they have to listen to what it is that the teachers are teaching, because the parents don't have the financial capacity they don't know where to start, which is terrifying. That must be so scary. That must be so frustrating. There must be a lot of fear there. There must be a lot of pain and fear and frustration, and you don't know where to go, and you don't know where to start. I'll start the conversation then, because this is really happening. Like I said, I don't have the answer for it, but I just want to start a conversation and see if maybe you've been experiencing a little bit of that same confusion, or maybe you feel, how do I say? I've seen a lot of, like, LGBT that are frustrated over, like, seeing, the Pride Month stuff, and they're like, that's not my community. That's not my community. Like, my sexual preferences, I don't need a month for you to celebrate my sexual preferences. Like, truly, I don't, like, at all. This is just my sexual preferences. I don't need children to be a part of that. I don't need, like drag reading children's books. I don't need that. I don't need that. That's not what I represent. And so there's a big divide going on within that community, which is very interesting. And I find it to be very fascinating and very poignant to kind of, like, go with this lens of a conversation, because I can only speak to, like, what I experienced. Even, like, I'm an experiential learner in human form. I'm a mystic. My consciousness, I came here to experience all these different things so I could come back to tell the tale. Even, like, our brains process information in different ways. Sometimes you can read something and you get it. Some people are, visual learners. Some people are auditory learners. I'm an experiential learner. So even the way that an experiential hands-on learner. So when my ear's ringing on that one. So when I, am learning a new process, learning a new tool, a new job. Say, for example, like when I first learned how to use an espresso machine when I was a barista, I needed to see someone doing it at, like, mastery speed, and then I needed to do it with them, like learn how to grind, and then, like, put the thing in and, like, jam it in and steam the milk, and then I needed them to watch me do it, flounder a few times, and then show me the speed again, so I had a trajectory for what it is that I need, like, something to aspire to, something to learn, something to go to. So when I look back and I, self-process and kind of say, like, why did you do this? Why did you do this? Why did you do this? And when I was a child of the Disney princess complex. And then I went like super duper queer because I was dating a narcissist. I was just like the whole Waking Up Post-Woke series. There's hours of information. So if you want the long game, go ahead. And also like the need to feel special and the need to feel seen and different. And, you know, I didn't want to just be an ally. I wanted to like be queer too and have a title too and have my own flag as well. Because I didn't get the parental love that I needed. I didn't. And so the more I learned how to love myself and self-soothe and nurture my inner child and take care of my inner adolescent, the more I recognized that that wasn't me. I don't need that special attention. I don't need that special love. I just need to love me as I am because I'm awesome. I'm in no way perfect. No one on this planet is perfect. Only God is perfect, in my opinion. Only Source is perfect. And so we came down here to experience. Earth is a mastery school. We have infinite ambrosia, infinite gluttony, infinite everything all over the place. And so even, you know, drinking too much water will make you throw up. Drinking something, you can eat something really good, but if you eat too much of it, it's no good. So it's kind of finding the cafeteria line of your experiences. It's like, okay, this is what I need, this is what I don't need. And it changes day by day. It does. It really does. Yeah, it took me a few years to really get out of the confused space that I was in to come back to who I am right now. Who's to say who I'll be in 3 years? It's kind of like when you're in your 20s, you know everything. When you're 29, you know everything. After your Saturn return, you know everything. You know, am I 36? I'm 36, I know everything. I'm gonna be 37 soon, I'm sure I'll know everything then. And you know, then when I'm 88, I'll know everything. And that's just the way it goes. When you're a teenager, you know everything. It just is what it is. It is what it is. So, yeah, it's the transgender men and women that I know and respect. We're so grateful. One person that I'm thinking of specifically who didn't transition until she was 18, 19, I want to say. She's like, my parents didn't let me when I was a child, and I couldn't be more grateful for that. I was still, you know, in a different mindset. My brain wasn't fully developed, all these different things. And then when it was time for me to transition, I transitioned. And that was like, without question, what I wanted to do. But you know, when you're like 6, 7, 8, some days you want to be a fire hydrant. Some days then you want to be a fireman. Some days you want to be a fairy. Some days you want to be this, and some days you want to be that. So without, you know, medical treatment, just be. Yeah, you want to dress up like a boy one day? Do it. You want to dress up like a fire hydrant one day? Do it. You want to dress up like a cat one day? Do it. But like, don't expect the school to put a litter box in the bathroom for you. Just exist and let it be. No one has to entertain your, you know, mental space, because it is a mental health experience that's being going on. I'm just accepting. I could feel some triggering of people going on, and it's fine. It is what it is. It is what it is. This is meant to be triggering, and it's so important for when you get triggered. It's so important. I'll leave a little, I'll give an aside. So there's an incredibly beautiful light worker that I follow, and she's very divine feminine, very open in her sensuality and sexuality. And I saw, you know, like a few of her posts, and her vulnerability with her body and her nakedness for me was super triggering one day, because I was, you know, very much like wearing things all the way up to the neck, and I was like, I'm not showing my body anymore. That's for my king. I don't even want to do that. And I saw, it was like a little meme that she posted. It was like a triangle, and like the top was like personal needs, and then like the middle was like spiritual needs, and then it was like foundational needs, and it was all crossed out, and it was just like getting railed in a sundress. I was like, I want to get railed in a sundress. It's been a long time. I don't even know what healthy touch and love was. So my trigger was like a little bit of jealousy. It was a little bit of frustration, because like I myself was like, it's okay to be sexual. It's okay to be sensual. It's okay to be beautiful, Sarah. It's okay to have all these things. And so triggers are beautiful things. It's activating the shadow. We should be so grateful for our triggers. You know, there is it's a dangerous place to be in the love and light and all of the, everything's beautiful and accepting. And, especially when I was in the queer community, as soon as I talked about my more conservative political beliefs, they were like, oh, ma'am, you are not welcome here. You are not welcome here. So there's that inclusivity has a boundary. So there's no plus. It was very known that A, I was not in the room that I was supposed to be in, and B, why was I trying to be in that room? And the more I looked inward, I was like, you just need to love yourself. That's what's missing here, is self-love. It doesn't matter if someone screams at me. It doesn't matter if someone adores me. It doesn't matter if someone loves me or hates me, vilifies me, demonizes me. It doesn't matter, because I know who I am, and I know my intentions, and I know what I'm here to do. And so as long as I stay on mission and pray to my higher power and listen to my higher self, it doesn't matter. Cast stones. It's fine. It's so fine. So the fall of an empire. Okay, so I think I will not be able to find it, and I'm not going to look for it, but I think it was a Joe Rogan episode. The clip, like I had mentioned at the beginning, I will put that below because that is very fascinating to me, because there is a historical component to an obsession with transgenderism and androgyny that comes right before the fall of an empire. And so I am very blessed to live in the free country of the United States of America as it stands in February 2024. I couldn't be more grateful. I couldn't be more grateful. I'm very proud to be standing on the soil that I'm standing on. I'm very proud for this area of Mother Earth because I told her that I would honor her. And so that's really, I think I had posted a video on that on the 4th of July last year, where Mother Earth needs your patriotism. I don't care what country you stand on, the planet is ascending, and we must give her love and thank her and be grateful for her. So if you feel as though you do not love the land that you're standing on, ask yourself why you're standing on that land. Yeah, I'm not gonna be like, get out and go where you, but really, I really want you to look at that. If you are not proud to stand on the land that you're standing on, why are you standing on that land? Is there financial stuff, some financial fear in there? Is it a little bit, I have to stand over here? Oh, interesting. And so for an astrological component, the United States has, in the past few years, had its Pluto return, which, what is a return, Sarah? So when we have a solar return, that's our birthday. It means that the sun is in the same point in the sky that it was when we were born. When we have a Mars return, that's give or take about 2 years. So that's like the terrible twos. Our Mars is our assertive planet conjuncting where it was when we were born, or it's like assertiveness, terrible twos. We have a Chiron return, that's around our 51 birthday. So Chiron, our wounded healer, the wound inside of ourselves is like the midlife crisis. Like, who even am I? So those are just some astrological returns that human beings experience. Pluto returns only happen to empires or countries. And so Rome had numerous Pluto returns, and it was fall and then fall and then fall. And so the United States, oh my goodness, so I think it was 2022, 2023, I want to say, because we've just had Pluto go into the sign of Aquarius. Natively for the US, Pluto is at 27 degrees of Capricorn, in the house of money and values and access to resources. So it's the dissipation, Pluto, outermost planet, our Phoenix planet, death and rebirth, deep change, deep, and we all have Pluto in our chart. In the house of money, values, access to resources. What even is money? With, crypto being a thing and stock markets going up and down, and maybe there'll be microcurrencies, or, barter is coming back again. I have clients that I do trade work with, and it's some of the most powerful sessions that I have. So when we actually just value ourselves, we're all multimillionaires, all of us. When you value yourself and you know what you bring to the table, it doesn't matter what it is that you seek, you can have it. You just have to find the people that are vibrational matches for you. Does that make sense? And when it comes to the dissipation and the separation of the United States, that's something that is not just my language. And, I'm not going to speak to something that I myself have not experienced, and I've never experienced the dissipation of a country. We're literally living through the fall of an empire in real time, with technology, with ascension, with all of this stuff. It's not just my language. This is real. It's just real. Yeah. I wrote from transgender, androgyny, the need to feel special, and the fall of an empire in the meantime. This is big stuff. It's very confusing, and it's infinite information where we can find all over the place, all over the place. So I guess to wrap it up, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about the gender obsession movement? And if it's triggering for you, why is it triggering? You don't know me. Why is my opinion triggering to you? Why is it that you seek the validation from others to entertain how you feel inside? With, these are the pronouns that I choose to use. What does that have to do with you? Because it's a beautiful thought to say, I respect you. Say, I respect you. I'll call you by the name that you would like to be called. That's a respect. But when it comes to forcing speech, is that dangerous or not? If it was the other way around, how would you feel? And so this is not meant to trigger you. This is meant to start a conversation, offer validation for people that might also be interested. I find this fascinating. Yeah, truly. It's when you stop identifying as the human body that you are blessed to inhabit, and you know that you are a consciousness. It's kind of like, what do you mean by that, Sarah? Have you ever said to yourself, like, oh, I'm so mad at myself, I knew better? Who is the you that's mad at the human? Just saying. It's very easy for us to step back and view it from above. But when there's financial fear, when there's, that need for validation, when there's roaring pain inside of yourself, roaring pain, it's hard to look at yourself. It's hard, to say, what I really need is love. And that's not what I have right now. That's not what I can get right now. I have to love myself. Yeah. Because there's no amount of, there's nothing that anyone can do outside of yourself, whether it be, I'll be worthy of love when I meet a man or a woman who's going to love me. They can't fill up your cup. I'll be happy once I have, this amount of money in the bank account. I'll hustle for it. And then when you stop hustling to breathe and it goes down, you can't live on a hamster wheel. At a certain point, you have to stop and say, what's really going on? What's really underneath all of this? And how can I offer myself the love that I'm seeking from others? Yeah. If you are a transgender woman or a transgender man, amazing. Be that. Own that. Rock that. Love it. Love it. Because it's okay if people misgender you. It's okay if people mess up. It's okay. None of us are perfect. No one has all the answers on this planet. So all we can do is give ourselves what it is that we're seeking from other people and just show up authentically every day. Let me know what you think. Go for it. Please let me know what you think. What is your opinion on this? What are your experiences of it? And like I said, I really, as a leader on this planet, and if you're drawn to my work, you're a leader as well, we speak from I statements. So it's not so much like you're wrong. It's what is my experience and what has my role been in this? Like, I would really love for us to have a respectful, kind dialogue about this, See see what you're feeling. Because it's been popping into my head so many times, and I've mentioned it so many times, and it's just like, it's something that I'm super duper fascinated by. So I just offering that for you, that maybe I'm not the only person on the planet that is thinking about this or finding it to be a little, wow, that kind of escalated super quick. Like super quick. That really escalated so quick. Yeah. And it's dividing a lot of people. So why don't we find a way? I think that incredible like podcast, like Middle Ground, has done many talks on this. So it's definitely like a touchy subject, but something that, you know, Joe Rogan has mentioned so many times before. Like, it's hard to talk about it because you're terrified that the sleeper cell in the other person is going off. There's violence on the other side. There's violent people on the other side of this. So just know that you're not alone. I was nervous to record this. I'm like it's very, I can see my human being like, but I've experienced it, and coming out of it was a really shame-filled moment. I had to look at my shame because I was ashamed of myself. I was like, you wore a queer label when you might not have even been queer. I had incredible queer relationships, but I don't identify as that person anymore. And I respect and love everyone that I've ever had relationship with, but I really, like even in my polyquad, the reason that I opened my relationship up so effortlessly was because my fiance was a like verbally abusive narcissist. And it was the only way that for a little bit I could get out of it. So just, even polyamory is a whole conversation for another day. I'm not going to get into it here. I've met very healthy polyamorous people and very unhealthy polyamorous people. So it's just like aliens. There's good and bad aliens. Just like humans, there's good and bad humans. Just like anything, there's good and bad coffee, regular decaf. There's this entire world is a plethora, a playground. It's a mastery school for consciousnesses to be given infinite ambrosia and infinite gluttony, infinite poison, and to do what is best, but view it from above and experience it and have fun.